All right. Ariana says, "Hi, would love to see a podcast about abstract answer choices on the PTs in the 150s, ones that are worded kind of more narratively than the typical LSAT answer. Anything in general about the newer tests, though, and practicing with those before your real test, the team's experience with PT 159, etc."
Interesting question because
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think I noticed that much of a shift in the 150s. I mean, I do think that when I was studying, I did feel like the newest tests, I don't know if it was like more mental versus actual, like, they did change some things, but it felt like they were a little bit harder. Maybe it felt like they were worded differently. Honestly, though, I think the logic of the test and in general, the way that they phrase things has stayed the same over time. So
Yeah.
just want to add that in the first place. Maybe part of this is just because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, especially with those more recent PTs, to be like, I know this is like the real thing. I know this is more of a modern test. And then it feels very different. What's your take?
Yeah, no, I think my answer is gonna be uh, a disappointing one in that it's like I'm like sort of like I wouldn't worry about the answer to this question so much. Like it is true there are subtle differences in the test between older and newer. Uh, Especially when you talk about like really old tests were pretty fundamentally different. But like that's not. But as far as like what is there in the 150s, it's just like I think trying to dissect that question is going to get you in your head and is not going to help you. Like those tests, like, more modern tests are valuable because they're closer to the thing that you're gonna take now, but, like, I don't think very much has changed in a substantive way, and I think, like, looking for those changes is not going to get you or trying to pinpoint what they are is not gonna get you an edge, it's just going to get you in your head because you're looking for these very subtle things that, like, we can't even say exist or will be there on the test that you take. And frankly, the strategy, like nothing has changed enough that the underlying strategy changes.
Exactly. And so, like, I mean, big picture with any dense text that you're having trouble reading, especially with those answer choices, they might make them wordier, they make them more convoluted. Pause every couple words, slow down, translate those into your own words. Really think about what you're reading. I think too many people are trying to read an entire answer choice or read the whole stimulus almost like all in one breath in your mind without stopping. And you're not giving yourself time to actually digest, understand, I don't know, let it seep in and make sense. So, like, blanket rule, pause every couple words, translate into your own words. Only then are you allowed to move on and keep on going. I really had to train myself to do that. I think so many people are like trying to speed read through this. It feels like it saves time, but it doesn't. And in terms of the team's experience with PT 159, interesting question. That's the most recent one, right? The one that just dropped.
My experience is
I was like, "I don't think you
nothing.
took it." I took it. I was kinda scared. I was like, "I haven't taken a brand new PT in a long time. Like, what if things are different? Whatever." I did the exact same thing that I always do, and it was totally fine. I, like, got through the sections pretty quickly. I thought they were all very fairly worded, fairly like, it was all essentially the same strategies that I'm using consistently. So, nothing should be different there. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, the higher the number of PT, the more modern the test is. And in general, we recommend saving the most recent, say 10 to 15 PTs for full tests so that you can take those, especially as you get closer and closer to your actual test date. And you can see, what the more modern test is like. But again, no reason to change your strategy. Always just more reason to maybe slow down, really pay attention to what you're reading.
Yeah. I should take a PT.
You
It's
should.
been a long
Yeah, you
time.
should do it. That would be fun. We can compete.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, why not? But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Ariana. Let me see, is there anything else in there? Practicing with the newer tests. Yeah, we covered this. Yeah, you want to practice with you want to save the newer ones till you're close to your real test. And I guess another word on that is if there's any chance you're going to take another test after the one that you're taking, then don't like exhaust that supply of new tests. Like, um, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, unless like there is literally no possible way that you're gonna take another LSAT, um, is I guess I'm talking about for your first LSAT, if like for most people, like the odds are you're gonna take it again, just if you're playing the numbers. So, regardless of whether you want to or not, like just plan as if you are, in terms of keeping a reserve. There are more than enough tests for you to save some, for you to study for one test without using all of the tests and especially all of the modern ones. So, just bear that in mind as well. I think that's all I have to say about that.
Agreed. A side note, you know I did that poorly, right? Like, when I was studying, I fully exhausted all of my tests between my 3rd and 4th LSAT. Now, hopefully you don't get yourself in the situation like I did where you're taking it 4 times. This was a lot of a product of my own stubbornness, kept signing up for the tests before I was actually ready. Anyway, quick note, if you do happen to get yourself in that situation, which we're really recommending that you don't, it's not the end of the world. I was still able to improve a good amount between my 3rd and 4th by going back and redoing things that I had seen least recently. But yeah, more
Yeah.
recent the number, definitely worth saving and make sure that
No,
you have
totally.
control.
I mean, you can retake tests, like, you shouldn't have to. It's not ideal, and you shouldn't be in a position where you have to, but it's like most people aren't like LSAT tutors where they have seen everything so many times that they remember it,
Right.
so it's
Yeah,
like
I know. I would always think that I had remembered it, and I'm like, "No, you don't actually even remember the answer here. You don't even remember what to do to get there. And even if you do remember the answer,
I was just gonna
focus on the
say,
stat."
yeah, let's say you're in a position where it's like you've used all of their tests and recently enough that, like, you remember some stuff on some tests, like, okay, what are you gonna do? Well, the best you can, right? It's like, I mean, the
Yeah,
thing is, I
right?
think
Like, you can still keep going.
people spend a lot of time, like, racking their brain for some solution that they know doesn't exist, right? Well, it's like, well, there aren't any other, you know, there are people who write LSATs. I
Right,
don't know
like, do not
why
make
you would ever
AI
do
write you an
that.
LSAT
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
That
yeah,
does not
you
work.
should
They're
never
very
do
bad
that.
at doing
There are
it,
also humans out there doing it who aren't LSAC, and
which
you
I
shouldn't do
also
that
wouldn't
either.
trust. Yep.
But, so you just do the best you can with what you have, and I would retake. I mean, I have retaken stuff. I'm sure if I took stuff now, I would not remember. So, anyways, just do the best with what you can. It's when we get, like, precious and just, it's that, like, perfectionism with stuff that tends to get people all caught up and, yeah, just stay loose, stay relaxed. That's how we're
So,
gonna score our
words of
best.
wisdom.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.